I've tried this. Every single time I open my mouth, my dog starts barking. She's driving me crazy. Hello! I've tried to do this video probably 4 times now. I'm not great at sit-down videos, and I actually just filmed it, and it ended up being very long and very long-winded, and so I'm gonna try to make it, you know, kind of bullet point without having massively long explanations for it. So, as you can tell by the title, this is positive things about autism, because there are positive things. It's not all negative, and I know people with autistic kids know that. But if your child is just getting diagnosed, or if you're maybe thinking, there's no way this can be a good thing, it can be. There are so many, behind every terrible thing that can happen, every tantrum, every challenge, there's also amazing things. So I'm gonna get right to it. I live in a very small community, but where I live, we get funding. As in, he gets funding at school for an aide, which is amazing. He gets funding for things like speech therapy, occupational therapy, physiotherapy, music therapy, horseback riding therapy, and I'm sure there's tons of other ones. Those are the only ones that are offered in the area that I live in, and you don't pay a dime for any of that stuff, unless you're going above and beyond your allotted amount. Now, I've never used any of his therapies, but it's there if I did. So, I mean, that's pretty positive, especially if your child needs speech therapy, as so many autistic children do. That's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. I'm told, which I've never actually done myself, but apparently this funding will also pay for either a laptop, computer, some sort of thing, or a tablet. You purchase it and then they reimburse you. I'm not 100% sure how that works. If you have done it, amazing. If you know how to do it, you want to let me know. But it's a good thing from what I know. I touched on this briefly a second ago, but an aide at school. He has a full-time aide. Now, he's 13 at this point, so he doesn't need his aide right by his side at every second. But she's always there if he needs her. He does a lot of his stuff outside of the classroom with her one-on-one, because that's how he learns better, but he still does absolutely everything that the rest of his class has to do for work. He has gotten lucky the last couple of years, and he's had amazing, amazing aides. And they buy him Christmas presents, they buy him birthday presents, they take him out for his birthday, and I have a very good relationship with his current aide, and I wouldn't trade it for anything, because I always know exactly how his day was. I can shoot her a text and be like, oh, hey, Kayden's kind of off, what's going on? Oh, do you know anything? Has he told you anything? How was his day? I can do like that, and it's no problem. An individual education plan on IEP, I know that that's also a thing in the US. I'm not sure about the rest of the world, but I think that's awesome as well, because for example, his IEP says, you know, on any given day, should he choose to go to music class, he can, but he doesn't have to. Because that was one of those things where I'm like, you know what? If he doesn't want to do music, he doesn't want to do music. I don't really care. That's not something that's going to hinder him, hurt him in any way if he doesn't do it. Now, if he tried to get out of, say, math or social studies or something, that would be a whole other thing. That's no, you have to do that kind of stuff. It also, you know, sometimes he could get extra time to do certain projects, just not often, not very often that happens, because he doesn't generally need it. Or or he gets extra time for, you know, math tests, or often what he does for tests is he has to do all the thinking and like the verbalizing, but his aide will write it down for him. But she's not actually doing the work for him, he is still doing it. So, I think that's a positive thing, because that's just gonna set them up to help them. That doesn't set them up for failure at all. Another really positive thing, and I can't speak for all autistic children, but for mine, he is a rule follower. He does not deviate from what you say. He will not cross the street unless it's a crosswalk. He looks both ways, and if there is a car even a mile away, he is waiting. And if that car stops, great. If it doesn't stop, he keeps on waiting. He does things very, very methodical. And like when he watches Evan, because he can watch Evan, he's 13, Evan's 4. When he watches Evan, if I say, oh, hey, can you feed Evan at this time? He will. He never deviates from what he's supposed to do. Another benefit is also that most of the higher functioning, now I don't know about the lower functioning because my son is high functioning. Most of the high functioning kids really, really like responsibility. So if I say, oh, hey, Kayden, can you go check the mail? Oh, hey, Kayden, can you go into the store and buy this for me? Oh, hey, can you go upstairs and help your brother, you know, brush his teeth or something? He will, and he likes it because he's responsible. It ties into the babysitting. He loves to babysit because he's responsible and it makes him feel important. He also does things at school, like he gets to set up the gym for assemblies and performances and stuff. He gets to photocopy, which is apparently a really big thing at school. And another thing he does every Thursday is one of his aides actually cooks with him. So every week they make a different thing. They've made poutine, they've made hamburgers, they've made muffins. I think this week they're making some, I don't even know, something. But he does that, and I think that's a positive thing. I feel like the cooking sets him up for, you know, future, at least it's an ability that he's going to need, right? The way that they think is, especially if they have like something that they really, really are passionate about, because autistic kids, when they have something, they are passionate. Like Kayden loves to draw, he loves Minecraft, and he loves Lego. He is very creative and he's very, very passionate about that stuff, and it's like all the time. He cannot shut his brain off. He's always thinking about what's next to build or what's next to design, always. It can be a lot of kids like vehicles, like motion, like trains or tractors or boats or, you know, cars. Sometimes it's just tires, but they know everything about that. Or bugs, for example. They know everything about every bug, which is so cool because, I mean, I don't know anything about bugs. I don't know anything about trains. I don't know anything about cars. I don't know anything about any of that stuff. If I ask Kayden a question about a 1950s car, he's gonna know about it. Oh yeah, he's obsessed with all things like 50s. He thinks he wants a 50s car or a 60s car. He loves all that stuff. He also loves the news. He keeps me informed about what's going on in the world, which is not sometimes a good thing because there's a lot of bad stuff that happens. I'm sure I'll think of more positive things, but seriously, always look at the positive side. For every battle that you win, sometimes you don't win, sometimes you lose them because some things are just not worth fighting about. For every battle, every obstacle, every hurdle, there's always a silver lining. There's always something positive that's going to come out. If your kid is diagnosed with autism, that doesn't change who they are. It sucks because they always have that label, but they are still the amazing baby, the amazing toddler that you take care of, that you know, they're still that person. They are not different just because they have autism. They can do, and they're awesome. Sorry this is so long. I tried to make it as short as I could, but I tend to be very long-winded, and my dog's finally not barking in this one, so that's a positive. And so thank you so much for watching, and seriously, I mean, I'm no expert, but I've been dealing with it for a couple of years. Anybody ever has any questions for me about autism or about my son in particular, I would be happy to answer them. I'm not very shy, so it's okay. So thank you so much for watching, and bye!